Rolling.
Hello again, so we're back at Summerhill on the 8th of May. We're narrowing the gap between inspections because it's quite a busy apiary and there's risks of swarming, risks of things going on. Last week we looked at colony 4, which was stacked up on top of here. We don't really want to do too much to that. I would want the queen to hatch, emerge, go out, mate and come back. So we're doing this inspection earlier in the day, so if there is an emerged queen in there, she's very unlikely to be on a mating flight at this time of day. We're down here about 10 o'clock in the morning. So that hive we're going to leave. This is the other half of the split. That was the top boxes were the queenless part, this is the queen right part. Now last week when we had a little look through here, the queen was in there, she was starting to lay brood, but she'd also made a couple of queen cells. Now we'd already split it, I don't really want to split it again, but the queen cells are an issue. We don't want to swarm out of here once we've tried to stop a swarm already. I think and I hope that we could knock the idea out of them. They're already a smaller colony, they don't really have the resources to swarm, but they obviously were still that way minded. So what I've done is I've put a queen excluder just for a short period of time, just for about 5 days now, under the floor, above the floor, sorry, below the brood box, so the queen can't leave. 5 days later, or 6 days later, I can't remember exactly, I'm going to go through this colony and I'm going to check that the queen is in here and that there's hopefully no queen cells. If I'm happy that there's no queen cells, the queen excluder underneath is coming out. If there are queen cells, yeah, I'm going to have to work out what on earth we do. So most of this hive was made up of bits of frames that we had around, bits of foundation, so the outer frames have got almost nothing going on in them. Just going to grab the... So they're starting to draw a little bit of comb, not always in the right places, as is their temptation, but they are starting to draw some comb. We've left a super on top of this with some stores in, give them the energy to do that. But they've drawn that frame out and they've made a reasonable job of it. Now as you can probably see, it's shadier here than when we normally are filming, because it's earlier in the morning. So seeing isn't as easy, but there's eggs in here, so I know the queen has been in here within the last 3 days. If I see eggs sort of standing up in the cell, then that's the last 24 hours. Once they fall over, that's the sort of day 2, day 3 of being an egg. So she's laid up that frame. Eggs in this frame too. The one thing about leaving a queen excluder under, you're also trapping the drones in at that moment in time, which isn't something you want to do long term. So putting queen excluder under is a short term measure, it's not something to use as a swarm control. Second frame of brood there, mostly eggs. Third frame of brood here. Little cup on here, nothing in it. Little cup up there, nothing in it. Third frame brood, something weird shaped going on there, which looks like some sort of drone cell. I'm just going to take that out. Not sure what on earth that little thing was. Hello, how are you? Just checking this third frame of brood, and that one's going back in. And now on to the fourth frame of brood. Haven't seen the queen yet. Fourth frame of brood, nice solid frame of brood, larvae sealed. Now there's no sign of queen cells, which is what I was hoping. It took them a little while to realise what had happened. They probably built those queen cells I saw a week ago almost immediately after we split the colony. Now, a week or so later, they've realised, and sometimes if they raise queen cells they'll tear them down again. They haven't on this occasion, I had to do that, but they've built some, they haven't built any more. Making a bit of a mess of drawing this comb. Sometimes if the comb's older and not so fresh, they don't like building directly onto it. And it's made a bit of a mess of that, but so getting them to draw comb isn't the easiest job in the world. What we might do is we might swap a frame and see if they'll draw that one better. They need the space. The space and the energy and the temperature to do it are triggers for them to draw, and I'm hoping those are around at the moment. But it's never a perfect process getting comb drawn. Having seen what I've seen in there, even though I haven't seen the queen, I've seen enough evidence of her. I could spend another 20 minutes here trying to find her, but I know she's been there very recently, and I know she physically can't get out. I know there's no queen cells. I'm going to take a little bit of a gamble on it. I'm going to take this brood box off temporarily. Just going to check the queen's not on there. That queen excluder's coming out. And back on the floor. Now hopefully, having split the colony, and secondly having put a queen excluder under for a week, we've stopped it swarming. If you put a colony, when you do an artificial swarm, straight onto foundation, putting the queen excluder under for 24-48 hours is often a useful idea. A colony that's gone in with a queen, maybe on a frame of brood, but nothing else, is in a slightly alien environment. Now they might take to it, but there is a chance they'll go, do you know what guys, this really doesn't feel like home, and they'll abscond. So that queen excluder under, I have to say, really not for very long. 5 days I think I've left this one, and that's as long as I'd do it. But if you're just doing it after you've put a swarm into foundation, 48 hours is what's normally the case. So the super goes back on. That's this hive done, and then we're going to reassemble the stack of the second hive above the Snelgrove board back on top of here, but you don't need to see that part.